Your robin is not watching the garden right now. It is watching you, not the tree behind you, not the feeder to your left. You, specifically you, with one dark eye tilted sideways and its whole small body gone completely still. And if you have ever stood in your garden and wondered, why do robins stare at you like that? The answer is stranger and more intimate than most people realize. Because what is happening in that moment is not casual interest. It is a judgment being passed. Your robin has eyes positioned on the sides of its head, not the front like yours. That arrangement gives it a field of view stretching nearly 300 degrees around its body. It can see almost everything, almost all at once, without turning its head at all. But here is what that wide vision costs. Seeing everything is not the same as seeing clearly. Peripheral vision, even for a bird, lacks the sharpness needed to read fine detail. To truly examine something, your robin needs to bring it into a very specific part of its eye, a region called the fovea. The fovea is the most densely packed area of the retina, the one place where visual resolution is at its highest. In a human eye, the fovea faces forward, which is why you can look directly at something to see it clearly. But in your robin, the fovea faces sideways. The sharpest point of its vision is not in front of it at all. So, when your robin tilts its small head and angles one eye toward you, it is not being endearing. It is not listening for worms beneath the earth, the way people have always assumed. Ornithologist Dr. Frank Hepner tested that idea decades ago and found it does not hold. Robins hunt primarily by sight, not by hearing. That sideways tilt is something else entirely. Your robin is rotating its head until its fovea aligns directly with your face. It is bringing you, deliberately, into the only part of its vision that can truly read you. This is precise robin bird behavior, evolved and refined over millions of years. And it has been aimed at you every single time your robin looked your way. Now, consider what happens inside your robin during that locked gaze. There is a region deep in the avian brain called the Arcopallium. It governs threat response, the ancient architecture of stay or flee, safe or dangerous. The moment your robin's fovea locks onto you, the Arcopallium begins its work. It is reading your movement, the angle of your body. Whether your gaze is directed at the bird or looking away, it is measuring your size against stored thresholds, your speed against learned patterns. All of this happens in the space of a heartbeat, and then a verdict is returned. If your robin is still standing in front of you when you look up, that verdict has already been delivered. You passed, not because you are harmless in some abstract sense, but because your specific movements, your particular rhythms, have been assessed and found acceptable. Here is where European robin behavior becomes even more fascinating. Not every robin will do this with every person. Researchers who study bird psychology have documented something called the bold and shy continuum in bird personality. It describes a real, measurable spectrum of individual temperament within a single species. Some robins are shy by nature. They maintain distance. They flush early. They watch from deep inside the hedge and never move closer. If you walk past them 100 times, they remain exactly as wary as the first day. Their caution is simply who they are. But other robins are bold. These individuals have a fundamentally different relationship with risk and novelty. They do not retreat when they could stay. They do not hide when they could observe. And critically, they reduce what researchers measure as flight initiation distance. Flight initiation distance is the threshold at which a bird decides to fly away from an approaching person. For a robin encountering a stranger, that distance averages somewhere between 3 and 5 meters. Close enough to be cautious, far enough to feel safe. That is the default distance of a bird that has not yet made up its mind about you. But for a bold robin that has watched you over days and weeks, the number changes. The distance shrinks. Sometimes it shrinks to 2 meters. Sometimes to 1. Sometimes your robin will walk directly toward you while you are kneeling in the soil. Not because it has grown careless, but because it has run its calculations and reached a conclusion. Researchers have noted something similar in forests, where European robins have been observed following wild boar through the undergrowth. The boar roots through the soil and disturbs insects hiding beneath the surface. The robin follows close behind, waiting for the earth to be overturned. In your garden, you have become the wild boar. Your spade your trowel, your boots pressing into the lawn, all of it moves the earth the way a boar does. And your robin has learned to read you the way it reads the forest floor. Now, consider what your robin is actually building during all those sessions of watching. A 2026 study conducted across 5 European countries confirmed that urban birds can distinguish between individual humans based on movement patterns, body shape, and behavioral cues. Every time your robin watches you, it is not simply assessing a threat. It is adding to a file it has been compiling since the first morning you stepped into its territory, the time you appear outside. Whether you come from the house or the gate, whether you move quickly or slowly, whether you look at the bird directly or let your gaze drift past it, each observation becomes a data point. Each data point refines the model your robin is building of you specifically. This is not instinct in the simple sense. This is a form of individual recognition that researchers now categorize as one of the more sophisticated cognitive behaviors observed in garden birds. Your robin is learning to read you the same way you eventually learn to read a face you have seen many times before. Not consciously, but accurately. And here is what that means for the two of you. You do not remember the first morning you noticed your robin in the garden. Probably it was just there, a shape at the edge of the lawn, something you registered and moved past. But your robin remembers the first morning it decided not to fly away when you appeared. That was a decision, a measured one, not an accident. Among all the humans it has seen come and go through its territory, it kept you on file. It found your patterns predictable enough, your movements slow enough, your presence tolerable enough. And then, gradually, something shifted in its calculations. Tolerable became familiar. Familiar became expected. Expected became something close to comfort. Over days and weeks, the space between you has been quietly narrowing. Not because your robin has grown careless or domesticated, but because each time you appeared and nothing bad happened, the Arcopallium received another small signal. This person is not a threat. This person may even be useful. Lower the threshold. Let them come a little closer. Friendly wild birds in garden settings do not appear by accident or by patience alone. They appear because one individual bird, bolder than its neighbors, decided to run the experiment, and you, without knowing it, kept passing the test. Think about the last time your robin tilted its head and looked directly at you. Hold that image for a moment. That stillness, that focused, patient attention. One eye angled sideways, the fovea locked, the Arcopallium processing. In that moment, your robin's threat response was quiet. Not firing, not preparing for escape. Simply watching, updating, filing you away. That is not a small thing. In the life of a creature that weighs less than 20 grams, a bird that faces hawks and cats and cold and hunger every single day, a bird for whom every encounter with something large is a potential final encounter. For your robin to hold still and point its sharpest vision at you without fleeing, it has had to override something fundamental. Trust does not arrive easily for a wild bird. It is not given. It is constructed, piece by careful piece, out of repeated observations that did not end in harm. Every morning you came outside, and your robin stayed put. It was choosing to stay. Every time you moved slowly and did not reach toward it, it filed that away. Every time you crouched near the soil and your robin hopped closer to forage behind you, it was extending a boundary it had previously held firm. So the next time your robin tilts its head and looks at you, try something. Hold still for a few seconds. Do not look at it directly. Let your eyes move slightly to the side, the way non-threatening creatures do. Breathe slowly. Move nothing that does not need to move. Give your robin what it is searching for in that moment. Evidence that its calculations were correct. Because that is what the stare is really asking. Not what are you, a question it answered long ago, but are you still the same person I decided to trust last time? Are you still slow enough? Still predictable enough? Still safe enough? And every morning you step outside and your robin does not fly away, that question has been answered again. Yes, still the same, still worth staying for. That is the quiet verdict your robin passes on you, repeated without ceremony, day after day. Not love, not in the way we use that word. Something older than that. Something more carefully earned. A wild creature has assessed you across dozens of mornings and decided, each time, that you are worth the risk of staying close. That is its own kind of choosing. And it happens every time that small dark eye tilts sideways and finds your face. If this robin sounds familiar, if this story feels like yours, subscribe to the Robin Files. A new story every week.